Kevin's talking pasta. He's no longer Kevin the Irishman. He is now Kevin Lasagna. Kevin Lasagna is a striker for one of the Italian teams. So it is time for Stoppage Time, the EPL preview show for this weekend. Some actionable info. Joining me from WagerTalk.com, Kevin Dolan and Pavlos Laguretos. Nick Borman will be back next week. He's traveling. We're going to cover Brighton, West Ham, Everton, Wolves, and we're going to finish it off with the game of the weekend at St. James Park. It is Newcastle hosting Liverpool, and I got the boys with me, the European boys, who you guys are on fire, and I'm absolutely loving it because you are setting the road for the rest of us. Pavlos, you continue to burn it up. Kev, you're off a 5% winner. Welcome to the show, boys.
Yeah, cheers, Carmine.
Glad to be here.
It's good, man. Listen, we're going to get right into it because we've got an action-packed show. We are going to have leans on all three games. You'll see that if you missed them, you'll see them at the end of the show when we do a recap. But guys, let's get right to it. Brighton and West Ham, because I know we're going to have some disagreements amongst the three of us, so we might as well get those going right now. And just a reminder, if you don't want to miss any of these shows, hit that subscribe button at the bottom of the video. Hit the like button while you're at it and drop a comment on anything you want us to discuss on future shows. But it's Brighton, West Ham. Brighton minus 199. The draw's plus 375. West Ham plus 505. Kev, I'm going to go to you first on this one, but I'm going to throw out my lean on this one. You know, I look at the teams, and listen, Brighton's had an easy go of it, but they've done what they're supposed to be doing. Love their manager. This guy is going to end up somewhere. Someone's going to snap him up at some point. Maybe when Pep leaves Man City, they bring in De Zerbi, but a couple 4-1 wins. This team is playing extremely well at home. And you look at West Ham, off a big win against Chelsea. But is that really a big win against Chelsea? The XG numbers weren't that great for either team, and Chelsea just aren't playing well. I was kind of surprised by the fact that, first of all, that Chelsea get a penalty and Enzo Fernandez takes it. But then I looked at the lineup, Kev, and I could not find a guy in that lineup who could have taken that penalty. You have Sterling, who is 4-4, four makes, four misses, playing for Man City. You had Nicholas Jackson, hasn't taken a penalty. One of their other midfielders hadn't taken a penalty. Ben Chilwell hasn't taken a penalty. Who do you put in there? Fernandez, his first penalty in the Premier League, he had 5 or 6 penalties when he played for River Plate, scoring all 5 for River Plate. He's only missed 1 in that game for Chelsea against West Ham. I'm going to go a different route here. I think we're going to see goals from both teams, but I think Brighton comes out on top. So I'm going to take the team parlay where you take Brighton to win and over 2.5 goals, and you're going to get plus 105 on your money. 2-1 result does me well here. Even a 3-1 result for Brighton does me well. That's where I'm going with this one. And I'm going to go to you, Kev.
Well, I mean, I love Brighton. We go back to the EPL Futures show a couple of weeks ago, and they were my top futures play of the season. Top 4 finished in the EPL plus 400. I really like that. But the market's just moved too far in them here, in my opinion. So, as much as I like them, I just can't back them at this price. The line's going off at a straight minus 189 right now at most books. That was minus 149 at this same venue only back in March just gone. And incredibly was plus 160 back in the 2022 season. So the books have really jumped on board the Brighton train, really valuing them as a top team in the EPL. And, they've ratcheted up this price in them as a result. And I just can't pay a 40-cent charge inside a couple of months on this Brighton team who have arguably gotten a little weaker. No Caicedo, no midfield, no McAllister and so on. So, I do agree with you. I do think, Brighton potentially win this game, but it's just the price is putting me off. And because of that, I have to take West Ham here, catching a full goal head start. Likely won't be on me card because I really do like Brighton. But as I said, look, price matters, and there's just no way I could take Brighton here, given the excessiveness that this line has moved in just a few months. So, West Ham +1, even money.
Kevin Dolan, WagerTalk, and Kev, listen, I agree with you, and this is one of the reasons why. While I like Brighton, and I think that Brighton is going to win this game, if you're taking Brighton, you now need them to win by 2 goals clear, or you're sitting on a push if they win by 1, which is kind of why I like those offers that many of the books have out there of Brighton win over 2.5 goals, and you're getting plus 105 on your money, because a 2-1 result gets us there, as opposed to 2-1 result when you're laying a goal with Brighton is a push. You look at West Ham, I think they can score. That the XG numbers that I mentioned in that Chelsea game were 234 for Chelsea, 196 for West Ham. Of course, Chelsea's aided a little bit by the fact that they had a penalty, although it was missed. Pavlos, I'm going to go to you for the final word on this one. Where are you leaning on this one? Are you leaning side, leaning total, or are we going to the prop markets?
I think I'm going to go to the prop markets, even though I like your bet, Carmine. I mean, Brighton to win and over 2.5 goals gets you there with a 2-1, as you said. I wouldn't be surprised if Brighton scored 3 in this West Ham defense, because, there's a huge gap there left in that West Ham defense, because one of their starting center-backs, Nayef Aguerd, the Moroccan guy, was suspended in the last match with 2 yellow cards, so he's going to miss this match. His replacement is Angelo Ogbonna, who is like a big dude, like 6'3", about 180 pounds. He's a big fella, 35 years old. He's slow though. Where I'm going with this one, I'm going to take Kaoru Mitoma, the Japanese guy from Brighton, who's been a revelation in the past couple of seasons. He started the season hot with, in the last match alone, he had a goal and an assist. He links up perfectly with their left back, Pervis Estupiñán, who is also an excellent addition in this Brighton squad. He's been excellent last season with them as well. Now, Mitoma, if you read his life, his story, he has a quite interesting story. He rejected a big contract to a big Japanese team when he was 19 years old. He said, "I'm not physical enough. I need to go study and I need to get better." So he went to the university. He studied. He got his thesis on the university was in dribbling. So he put cameras on his teammates' head and his own head, and he analyzed what makes a good dribbler good. So he knows that he's lacking in physical attributes. He can make up for mental attributes. So, and I quote, he said, "I'm conscious of shifting the opponent's center of gravity. If I can move the opponent's body, I win." So if you've seen him in the matches, he has this mercurial type of way of, moving around the pitch. He can assist, he dribbles, he doesn't look at the ball too much, he looks at the space. So he's been instrumental for this Brighton side. Now, with West Ham United missing, their starting centre-back, there's going to be Zuma and Ogbonna there. I don't trust either of these 2 guys. I think they're going to be terrorized by Mitoma. Again, these are 2 heavy guys, strong guys. They might be good in, aerials and body-to-body, contacts, but I think Mitoma is going to expose this West Ham side really, really badly. And I think that plus 200 on Mitoma to score any time is just way too much. He's a formidable forward. He's been scoring goals left and right, and now he gets a West Ham defense that is below average, if you ask me. And, they brought in Mavropanos to save the day. It's their big signing. No, it's the signing at the centre-backs to start that defense, but he's just like the Greek Harry Maguire. So give me Mitoma to score anytime, plus 200. I think that's a very big price for this game.
The Greek Harry Maguire. I love that. That's like when I would say Leonardo Bonucci is the Italian Harry Maguire. Poor Harry, he's getting beat up on this show over the last year and a half. I like that Mitoma one, Pavlos. You know what I mean? Like last year was his first full season at Brighton, 7 goals, 5 assists after coming over from Belgium's first league, playing for Union. I think it was Union Royale or Royal Union. A good season in his first season under Roberto De Zerbi. And we know De Zerbi's got that team playing forward football. So maybe he does score in at plus 200. I really like that. If you guys love that play or you want to side with either Kevin and I or disagree with Kevin and I, all comments are welcome. Drop them down in this video below, and we will try and comment as much as we can on any questions or comments that you might have. But with that said, you guys are going to have a lot of comments on this one. Why are you guys talking about Everton and Wolves? But here we are. We are talking about them. Everton plus 132 at home. The Dross plus 230. Wolves plus 220. A lot of prices in the pluses right across the board. Yeah, I'm going to go back to you first, and I think we might disagree on this one. But I actually like the over on this one. It is at 2.25 goals, so it's not your standard 2.5 or your 3 that you normally see with some of these primitive games. But Wolves haven't played that bad. I get it. They lose 4-1 to Brighton. They played a game in which they probably deserved to win against Man United in the opener. And we've seen both these teams register some higher than normal XG numbers, especially Everton, who hasn't scored a goal thus far yet, losing 4-0 to Aston Villa, which was my 5% play last weekend, and then losing to Fulham. But that game against Fulham at home, I think their XG numbers were above 3 in that one, and they couldn't come away with the goal. At some point, they're going to find the back of the net, and this might be the weekend. So I'm going to go over 2.25 goals. If you're unfamiliar what a quarter goal is, if you're betting 100 on a game and it's 2.25 goals and you're taking the over, 100 is on the total of 2, and 50 of your 100 is on the total of 2. 50 of the other 50 is on 2.5. So the game lands on 2, you push 1 and you lose 1. If it lands on 3, you win them both. So over 2.5 for me. And Kev, I'll go to you for your thoughts on Everton and Wolves, the dud of the weekend.
Yeah, Carmine, yeah. I mean, you're a brave man. We've said this on the show before. I actually seen Pavlos put up a tweet a couple of weeks back. He'll know more information than me, but I believe it was in a game over in the Argentinian league, Banfield against someone, I can't remember. But basically, Pavlos was going on about the dangers of trusting XG too much in your handicapping. I can't remember the exact figures, but it was something like one side had 3.50 XG and lost 1-0 against a team with, 0.35 XG or whatever, and those sorts of figures. Those figures definitely apply, as you mentioned, to these two teams on Saturday. You look at the figures for both of these sides to start the season. As you mentioned, Everton put up 3.07 XG in their opening home game against Fulham. Only Brighton and Liverpool attempted more shots on goal at home as well than Everton managed in that game. And they face a Wolves team in this one that put up 2.14 XG themselves in their opening road game of the season against Manchester United. Only Brighton had attempted more total shots on goal across their opening 2 games of the season than this Wolves team have. So it's not just XG, it's total shots on goal as well. They're getting into all types of chances and opportunities. I get it. If you're looking at numbers metrically, this is a great play. But the fact is, neither of these teams, can score. It's, I remember when my daughter was a toddler, you'd feed her spaghetti. It's on the fork. It's right next to her mouth. It's like an XG of 0.87 or whatever just to get it in there. But, she scuffs it. It goes all over the wall, all over the floor. Instead, that's what we're dealing with here in Neil Maupay and Matthias Cunha in this game. 272 minutes of action played between them. 0 goals, 0 assists, a combined XG of 2.67 goals. They can't score. So I could place the ball, at the 18-yard box, no goalkeeper. They'd find a way to miss it. So I do agree with you in terms of the numbers, but there is absolutely no chance I can trust either of these two teams to actually put the ball in the net. So this is going to be my spaghetti game of the week. Under 2.25 goals for me in this one.
Under 2.25. Agree or disagree with either Kevin or I? Drop it in the comment section. Kevin's talking pasta. He's no longer Kevin the Irishman. He is now Kevin Lasagna. Kevin Lasagna is a striker for one of the Italian teams. So we talked about him a lot last season, Pavlos, and we'll talk about it again. Kevin Lasagna making an appearance on the show. Give me your thoughts on this one, Everton and Wolves.
Okay, this is a tricky match. I wouldn't put off anybody by picking either side, picking a draw, picking an over, picking an under. This is one of the matches where you got two sides coming off back-to-back losses to start the season. They're under a lot of pressure. They're still trying to, figure out what their the rosters is going to be. Everton are still signing players. They still want Kudus from Ajax, who's going to elevate this offensive game for this Everton side, because, Calvert-Lewin, they gave him a chance in the last match against Aston Villa. He had a head injury, had to come out. Danjuma is not really a striker. He's more of a winger. I think this team needs to sign a striker. Their defense is good. Midfield is solid. I think they need a proper striker. They can't do with Mopé and Calvert-Lewin and Danjuma and Iwobi, who can play 5 positions. They need just a strong striker. And that's why they're not scoring goals. Wolves, to be honest, I expected to see less from Wolves, but they've kind of surprised me by how they played so far in the season. Just a small, 2 matches they played so far, but they did deserve at least a draw against United, if you ask me. They outperformed United in pretty much every aspect of the game. They weren't given a penalty in what was a clear penalty kick, in my opinion, in the match against United there in the final minutes. They didn't deserve to lose to Brighton by 4-1. That was just a bad result, and the expected goals alone were pretty similar for the two sides. So the 4-1 was just a Brighton outburst. Now Wolves, they've sold off most of their solid players over the summer. They did spend 40-50 million euros for Cunha, who is just a bad investment if you ask me. And now one of their last remaining top players, Mateus Nunes, who by the way was red carded in the previous match and is unavailable for this match, is linked to a move to Manchester City. So this is a distraction for the side. I see them. There's a lot of cards. That's where I'm going with this match, guys, because I think both teams under a lot of pressure right now. They're gonna wanna not lose this match. They're both looking for the 3 points. I think we're gonna see a lot of fouls, a lot of cards, and if you're a card guy, you've seen that last week in the EPL, in 10 matches in the EPL, they went 9-1 to the over in card totals last week, and we had red cards in 5 of 10 matches. So Paquetá must be proud, who by the way is under investigation, West Ham's Paquetá, for betting on himself to get yellow cards. Last week he got a yellow card and also scored. Anyway, I'm just leaving this behind. So we got two teams under a lot of pressure. Wolves got 4 and 6 cards in their 2 matches so far. Everton, there were 7 cards in Everton match against Aston Villa and 3 cards in their loss to Fulham. I don't want to overcomplicate it. The lines card, the card line is set at 5.5. I'm going to take the over 5.5 cards at plus 110. I think, with the addition of the stoppage time, the extension of stoppage time minutes in the EPL, we've seen 5, 7, 8, 9 minutes of stoppage time. I think the percentage of cards is going to go way up this season. So give me the over 5.5 cards at plus 110 here.
Pavlos Laguretos of WagerTalk.com. He's hot as a hot dog, and he's going with a lot of mustard in the yellow cards. And Pavlos, 13 yellows last year in the 2 fixtures between these two. 7 in the first, 6 in the second. So both those ones soared after this, over this 5.5 number, and you're getting plus money on it. So if you can hit that one again, that would be a great number to hit on. Speaking of hit on, it seems like everyone's hitting on Virgil van Dijk because this guy does not look good. My thoughts. I'm going to piss off all the Liverpool people watching this show. Newcastle and Liverpool on Sunday in the feature game. Newcastle plus 114 at home. The draw plus 291. Liverpool plus 211 in this one. Listen, we talk about Newcastle and how this team has improved by leaps and bounds, being a couple of years removed from fighting off relegation to finishing top 4 and being in a Champions League spot this year. 19-6-2 was their home record last season in the Premier League. Their 2 losses to Arsenal 2-0 and to this Liverpool team 2-0, where they Pope in that game. I'm not sure if you guys remember it. Pope, the keeper for Newcastle, made a couple terrible errors. The second one resulting in him getting a red card in the first half. So they're down 2-0. And yet they still finished with a better XG number in that game. We're talking XGs again, Kev. I'm going to go with Newcastle here. Listen, I watched Liverpool. I thought their defense still looks suspect to me. The Chelsea could have scored on them more than they did in round one, and I'm not convinced by this Liverpool team as of yet. So I'm taking Castle at home, where they're tough to beat. The XG number in that game, where they fell behind 2-0 and a man down 30 minutes in, 209 to 192. I get it. Let's not rely too much on XG, but I think the better team here is Newcastle, and I'm going to take the plus money on them. Newcastle plus 114 for me, and I'll throw it over to you, Kev.
Yeah, completely agree, Carmine. Good game last week over at the Etihad as well. I thought Newcastle played fairly well. They obviously just lacked that cutting edge to break open City at the back, which, as you mentioned about Liverpool's defence, I don't imagine they'll have the same sorts of issues this weekend. The Liverpool backline looks incredibly shaky. Chelsea really should have bagged the second goal 2 weeks ago in that game. They look like the far more dangerous team going forward the longer that game went on. And again at the weekend as well against Bournemouth. Bournemouth looked like they had Liverpool rattled early in that game, got that early goal. So I'm just not sure how well this Liverpool team will cope at the back, against Newcastle's pace and width down those flanks this weekend. Only 2 teams in the league have created more havoc in and around that 18-yard box than Newcastle have this season. 71% of all their chances at home have fallen inside the 18-yard box, and only Brighton have had more shots on target across their opening 2 games of the season than Newcastle have. So I don't see Liverpool weathering the storm here at St James's Park. I think there could be goals in this one. There's absolutely nothing wrong with Liverpool going forward. They're incredibly dangerous. But in terms of defence, Newcastle are the far more settled unit here, and the one I'm far more likely to trust with my money. So, Newcastle, to get the win and cover for me. I'll be slightly more cautious. I'll take them on the minus quarter goal line. But, Newcastle get the win and cover for me this weekend against Liverpool.
All right, Kevin Dolan, Wager Talk. We're on the same side. We're playing it a little differently. Let us know if you're a Liverpool fan and you're pissed at what I said about Virgil van Dijk. Drop a comment below. We appreciate any comment and any like. Pavlos, I'm going to say this. Sometimes teams just have another team's number. So it almost makes you want to stay off a game. And I thought about this one, is the fact that as tough as it is to play at St. James Park, Newcastle has not beaten the Liverpool at home since 2015. That's a span of about, 10 or 12 games. Give me your thoughts on this one. Does that even come into your handicapping?
Usually, yes. But we have, I take historical facts very much into consideration because, as you said, certain teams have other teams' numbers. There are certain teams who just perform badly when they play in a certain venue, whether it is, the fandom fighting against each other, whether it is, some historical fact. I do take it into consideration, but I also take into consideration the fact that Newcastle didn't have this sort of team in those 10 years. So, the way I look at this is a very tricky match. I'm not going anywhere near Liverpool. If you're a Liverpool fan and want to, watch your team and enjoy your team, just don't bet on this match. This is a very tricky match. There's all sorts of things going wrong with Liverpool right now. If I just can speak about the numbers just a little bit, they had fewer XG than Chelsea in that 1-1 draw in London. They even had fewer XG. They actually allowed 1.52 XG to Bournemouth at home, and they even conceded a third-minute goal. So Alisson got a yellow card. Salah missed a penalty kick. McAllister got a rough red card that was rescinded, and he's now back into contention. He's not going to miss this match. But today, and for the past couple of weeks, I was reading some news about how I don't remember which Saudi side it was, but there is a Saudi side that wants to make Mohamed Salah the highest paid player in the Saudi league. So, no matter how good things are at Liverpool, which they are not, whenever somebody wants to offer your star player, a huge offer to take him away from you, things might get, this is a distraction. So Salah is not really at 100%, if you ask me. Yes, he's facilitating a little bit more this season, but I think he wants out. And with all the talent Liverpool have up front, they have like 6 players who can play in the top, in the top 3, in the forward 3. I wouldn't be surprised if they let Salah go, but this is a very tricky match in my perspective. I think Liverpool are not gonna want to open up too much because Newcastle can burn them. After all, they scored 5 against Aston Villa, so Liverpool know very well that if they open up, they might be in for a rough surprise. So and Newcastle know that this is Liverpool. Yes, it's a very good team. They can lash out at any given moment. So I think this is going to be a very careful match here. I'm going to take the under 3.25 goals, which is a split line between under 3 and under 3.5 goals. To be honest, I don't really see 4 goals scored in this match. I think Newcastle, if they score 1, maybe if they score a second, they're going to park the bus. Liverpool, if they score first, it's probably going to be a 1-1 draw. I really don't think there's going to be that many goals in this match. So sign me up for the under 3.25 goals here.
Yeah, and listen, Pavlos, I understand that. I understand you look at the last game and finished 2-0, and I get it. There was a red card in the 30th minute, and they scored a couple early. So if nothing else, Newcastle still has they should have that fresh in their memory that they were taken apart in the first 20, 25 minutes of that game, and maybe a more cautious approach. And for you guys who might believe that I'm poking fun or I'm down on Liverpool, listen, they've got 4 points to their first couple of games. And all you want to do is sort of survive the first few weeks and play yourselves into shape. It's something that's not happening with Man United right now, who don't look good right now, and played for those you won't see it on their last 20 games or so, but they played a game. I believe it was yesterday, a closed door game against Burnley with a few of their regulars in the lineup and lost 3-0. So at Carrington, so they're not playing very well at United, and a little bit to be worried about because they should probably be 0-2 instead of 1-1 if you think about that Wolves game and the penalty that wasn't. Drop a comment if you, again, agree or disagree with us and hit that subscribe button. But let's do a review of today's leans, and we'll go to Kev first. Let us know what you have up at WagerTalk, and we'll see your leans on the screen as well.
Yeah, well, it's been an absolutely fantastic start to the European campaigns, Carmine, as you mentioned at the top. Number 1 the EPL right now, 4-0 start plus 14 units in profit. Number 1 in French League 1, number 1 in German Bundesliga. So all good there. We'll have EPL and European plays up by the end of today. And last but not least, the Rugby World Cup is just 2 weeks away. A massive tournament over in France. We already have our full tournament package already loaded up on our page right now. Get the entire tournament for only $79. So, looking forward to a big next few weeks.
All right, awesome, and best of luck with those plays and the regular plays as well. I look forward to following along on some of those. Pavlos, let us know what you have up at WagerTalk, and you got to keep that run going, my friend.
Yeah, it's been amazing. Number 1 soccer year to date, plus 142 units. Number 1 last 7 days, last 30 days. Number 1 in 5% last year. Number 1 in 5% year to date. Last season, it was incredible, 9-3 in 5% Champions League releases. I do have a 5% Champions League qualifier, a top bet for next week. You want to get on it fast because I expect the odds and maybe even the line to change come game time. So get it fast. I have big plays for the weekend as well. Possible 5% in Brazil that I'm looking, but there's going to be 4% best bets in the Bundesliga and in the French League 1.
All right. I wish you the best of luck. A lot of cards loaded up at WagerTalk, so take advantage of those ones. Myself, the leads are up on the screen. A couple plays that go today in Europa League qualifying. EPL cards are up as well, too, and I've got a 5% play going this weekend, so take advantage of those. Over WagerTalk, it's a great time to grab those 7-day all-access packages as well, too. Great deal on those, and you get every single play for 7 days, including all 5% plays. Guys, thanks for tuning in again. We're going to be back with more EPL. We'll be back on Tuesdays eventually once Champions League and Europa League tournaments start and some midweek games, but we're going to stick to Thursdays for now. Drop a comment. Let us know what you want us to discuss on future shows, whether it's a different league or different teams, and we'll try and tackle them and get to those questions as well, too. For myself, Pavlos Laguretos, and Kevin Lasagna, the Irishman Italian. This is Stoppage Time. Thanks for tuning in, and good luck with your wagers, guys.